Oh, well, we've had a good winter. It's been an exceptionally good winter. I took some time off here because it was super slow at work. And now I get to watch Charlotte do all the work. It's so much fun.
Glad you're having a good vacation.
What are you doing?
Well, they say wood warms you twice, so we try to move it as many times as possible before we put it in soap. Just kidding. We made a little spot here in the garage for the wood because, you know, this wood is about 5 below zero outside. Our garage is 65, 70 degrees, so...
You kidding? It's 80 in here. I keep it 80. 65.
We bring it in to warm it up, so it's more efficient when we burn it.
And you put some stingers down there below so the air can get underneath it too, right?
Yeah, we want the air to circulate that.
And with the garage floor being heated, it really does pretty... How long does it take to get this wood up to room temp? A day?
Probably a day.
We used to leave it in the cool wagon that we found at the dump. Put new life to it. And it wouldn't circulate enough.
Yeah, it stayed wet.
And cold.
On it or something. It stayed wet.
And then how many cords of wood have we gone through this winter?
About 3, and it's the end of December. I think we'll burn 7 or 8 this winter.
This is birch that we got, and we split this at -15.
Yeah, it was cold. Yeah, we cut it
in the
winter.
fall. In the winter, that's right. Yeah, it was winter. Everything.
So I'll get one more load and leave it in the wagon.
Can I follow you out to the woodshed?
Oh, of course.
Can you tell me what that is like out there?
Oh, 5 loads today.
No, the woodshed.
Woodshed.
It's really pretty out here today. It is amazing to have a stay-home vacation. I don't have to drive anywhere or fight airline things. Look at the sky. So tell me about the woodshed, sweetie, before you get too far.
This woodshed is really awesome. Almost all woodsheds have pallet floors or are on the dirt. And our neighbor had this idea, so we used railroad ties going this way and then 2x4s. So it allows air to circulate up through and it dries it really fast in the summer. And it's so nice to be able to walk on a solid floor in a woodshed.
All right, let's back up a few steps. So we used to put pallets because I was too cheap to do it right.
And they break and
our
you're stumbling around on them.
Neighbor down the street showed us how to do his. And we used to have, every single time we would stack it. See, look, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 deep. And in the past, every single one of these would have been covered in mold. Here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I see with mold, 6. And the rest dry. And that's the furthest stack back, which means that this one gets all the sun. So of course there's no mold here. But this entire bay of 4 deep, how tall? 8 feet tall?
8 feet tall, 8 feet wide. So 4x4x8 is a cord.
Have you seen any of these? And they've sat for a year, 1 whole year, correct?
No, it'll be, this wood we cut 2 years ago in
2 years
February, March. So it's almost 2. So
and
it
it's
dried 2 summers in
here.
In here, it dried, yeah, like a summer and a half, because we built this in July.
And what's your moisture reading on that?
It's below 10%.
Below 10%, so it worked really well.
9%.
And in the
So
summer,
it's dry as a 2x4 from the store.
and in the summertime, we could feel the air sucking in through this. You could put your hand right here, and you could just feel the suction of the air getting pulled up in through. And Hank is always catching squirrels in here, and the cat too. And you could just hear it. And this whole pile shrunk 6 inches. Used to be touching the top of that thing, and it shrunk. The whole pile, everything. That's how much moisture we pulled out of this stuff. A lot of that's spruce and some birch. This is pretty much all birch. This is pretty much all birch here. But we really over-designed it. We had a friend that said, if you're going to build it, make it look tough. And I'm glad we did, because the snow load on that is pretty heavy. And as the climate changes more and more in Alaska here, the snow is getting heavier and heavier each year. This snow right here that we've got on top, super light. Super, super, super light. So
it takes a lot more engineering to build a woodshed like this, especially with the floor. You have to really think of your structure, but it's so worth it. It's so nice to just come out here and have dry wood, and it's kind of fun to have it 8x8, because then you know exactly how many cords you have. This hog wire in between, instead of doing slats, this allows the air to circulate, but you don't want your wood to fall through there. These things really help. This was somebody else's idea. We got Adam saw, but these go through the stacks, and they really help to keep them from tipping over. It gives a lot of stability.
So you've got those all through every single bay.
Yeah.
Yep. And so whenever we cut branches by the side of the road, we grab those and use them as stabilizers. And they really do. They keep, as the wood dries, like I was telling you, it dropped down quite a bit, and that causes things to want to move around. But yeah,
making it 8 feet tall, we have to use a ladder. But just because of how our property is, we didn't have much depth. We couldn't go very far, so we just went up with it.
Which is not fun. If you have the chance to go wide, do that, because climbing on a ladder is a major pain.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I'd still much rather do it than, like, we used to do carports and they would collapse from the snow. We had to shovel the snow off. Tarps, you have to shovel the snow off. Oh, this is so much nicer.
And we've got the rabbit storage up there, and we've got plywood storage. And we just keep a little bit of LED lights on all winter long. But yeah, best woodshed ever, huh?
Oh yeah.
All right, get back to work, Charlotte. It's my day off. Man, thank the Lord for these trees. We've got a neighbor that lets us cut on his property close by. And so with the tractor, we do all our wood cutting here. If you scroll through our other videos, you'll see the construction of this, how we've used it, split the stack, but yeah, it's been nice. We go through, because of this system, we've got a nice EPA approved wood stove that I don't need here in the middle of the woods. We're in a rural area, we're not required to, but it saves so much wood to get an efficient stove. All the stubbornness about, I'm not going to be told what to do. Forget it, man, it's efficient. The numbers don't lie. The politicians do, but the numbers don't lie. So we got ourselves a really nice quadra-fire, huge stove, 21 inches is what we cut to. And we go through as much wood as we want, and we burn maybe 25 to 50 gallons of heating fuel a year, and that's just because we just don't want to load the wood at 2 in the morning. Well, hopefully this is helpful. Being able to stay financially savvy and not be a tightwad is a huge spiritual blessing. I've been watching some videos on Karl Marx, and that guy was such a loser. He was always demanding money from people, family, friends. And his own mother, Karl Marx's own mother, said, "Ja, you wrote the book, the Das Kapital. I wish you would stop talking about it and make some yourself." What a loser. Oh, but he was in the idea of being efficient, and that I agree with him on, but that's about it. All right. Lord bless you guys. Hopefully you can be practical as well and use some of these ideas, and give us an email if you need more design ideas.